Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. You're watching Nub's Collection, a YouTube series dedicated to the cataloging and review of every game in my physical media collection. As always, I am your host, Victory Nub, and today we are looking at Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge. Developed by Software Creations and published by Acclaim Entertainment and released in the United States in November of 1992. So this is most likely the first Spider-Man video game I ever played, and certainly the first X-Men video game I ever played. I think I played this before the arcade game that everyone remembers playing, the side-scrolling brawler that was really big when it came out initially, the one with, I think there was Nightcrawler and Dazzler and Cyclops and Wolverine and I think Storm. And was Colossus the sixth? I think it was Colossus, the arcade game. This one has 4 X-Men. I think you saw them at that little intro picture that they had, along with that squealing arpeggio song they started the game with. So in this one, you get to play as, along with Spider-Man, Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, and then eventually Gambit. Gambit, I think, might be the last one you could choose from, but I'm not 100% on that. It's been a very long time since I played this game. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the story setup for this one. It's not too long, and it's basically just giving us the situation we find ourselves in at the very beginning with Spider-Man swinging around New York City, and we'll actually get just the tiniest little blurb of that at the intro of the game here, but let's go ahead and read through this real quick. From web to web, skyscraper to skyscraper, Spider-Man races through the towering canyons of the city. The X-Men, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Storm have all disappeared, and unless Spidey can find Gambit, the Cajun's fate will certainly be the same. Spidey sees Gambit's familiar silhouette below, but in the second he swings down, a giant tube shoots out from the roof of a garbage truck and gnurf-shavlang! It swallows the unsuspecting Arcadian. Yes, that is spelled GNNRRR hyphen SFLANNG. Gnurshavalang. I don't think either of those are sounds or words. Spidey flashes back through the countless life and death perils and flesh-hungry supervillains, back to an absurd assassin named Arcade and his deadly amusement park. The wall crawler slings a spider tracer onto the truck and pursues his prey into the night, unaware the hunter is about to become the hunted. Ooh. Arcade originally created his funfair to make his million-dollar hits more entertaining. But now he's rebuilt it with all new, bigger games, inescapable traps, and deadly rides, purely for his own enjoyment. And tonight's very limited run, one-time only showing, is the thrilling final destruction of the X-Men and their would-be rescuer, Spider-Man. Alright, that's it. They also had in the instruction manual a little blurb setting up each of the scenarios that the X-Men find themselves in, but we'll skip all that because it could be me talking for another 5 minutes going over all that. Above the city streets. I just hope I'm not too late. First Cyclops, then Storm, and Wolverine. Gambit, look out! Gnurshavalang! It's in here, too. That's awesome. I know that truck. Arcade! I have to go after them. The lives of the X-Men depend on me. Not a bad detail of Spider-Man there. I have no idea what Spider Sense is supposed to be telling me. Maybe it's telling me where the little tracer things are. So Spider-Man doesn't punch enemies in this game. He just shoots his webbing. And I don't think there's a way to jump down. You can only do the jump up. He has a web that he could shoot. Now, one of the more baffling things about it is, and we'll go ahead and grab that tracer. I think that's what I'm picking up is spider tracers. He has the long web he can use to swing, but you can't shoot it while you're jumping. You can only shoot it while you're on the ground. So that's not terribly dynamic or fun. Oh! Come on. Also, when he jumps, for some reason, it looks like he's trying to, land groin first on the enemy's face, which, I mean, I know he likes to joke around a lot, but good Lord, Spidey, come on. Don't you have a girlfriend at this point in the comic run in the 90s? He was probably dating Mary Jane. Nope, missed that. Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 and 5, this ain't. All right, come on. Got it. There we go. Ah, I missed it still. So you have to grab them in a specific order. That's not great design. They let you cling to the walls like Spider-Man would, but when you walk down, you don't flip direction, you just kind of walk backwards. And also, there doesn't seem to be a way to fall off the ledge. Once you're clung to it, you just have to go all the way down or drop straight down. I know when I think of Spider-Man games, the first thing I think of is, let's walk around an environment with almost no enemies and pick up a bunch of blue boxes. I think they missed the mark on what this game could have and should have been. God, even his run is lame. I do believe this is the first Super Nintendo Spider-Man game that was ever released. I don't know if there was ever an NES Spider-Man game, and if there was, I certainly never played it. Same with the X-Men. I'm not sure if there was ever an X-Men game. There we go. Come on. See if there's any other buttons that I can use here to do stuff. Would you stop clinging to the same two walls? Oh, I think I know why I didn't like this game when I first got it. I think what happened was I ended up getting this as a rental from my local, I think it was called Family Video, was the rental store that we used to go to all the time. And this was one that I would have rented once because it was the only game available at that point in time, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like Spider-Man. I'll check it out. And played it and was very underwhelmed by the way that the game plays, which is a lot of very frustrating platforming, clinging to walls, and the fact that Spider-Man, who has the ability to hit enemies, and really hard, I might add, was mostly stuck just shooting webbing at them, which isn't fun gameplay by any means. I mean, it's okay if you're using it in combination with physical attacks, but Spider-Man can do so much more. I think we talked about this in the episode I did for, I like going up the walls like that, for Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. I was not a comic book reader back in the day. The majority of what I experienced the comic book characters from would have been cartoons that would appear, you know, on Saturday mornings or whenever they would have showed the Spider-Man cartoon series, which we did talk about a little bit. I loved that cartoon when it was on Fox. Come on. There we go. So it's up there. How do I get to that one? Boy, this is not very fun. There we go. I did, however, see the Spider-Man comic strip. And what I mean by that, and I have no idea if this was syndicated everywhere or if it was unique to the area I live in, the Washington Post used to and may still run a comic of Spider-Man in their daily comics. And it was the standard 3-panel comic strip style comic that they would put up on, you know, most standard, like, you know, your Garfield 3-panel comic strip or Calvin and Hobbes or whatever they do now, Boondocks, the Family Circus, although I think Family Circus is mostly a 1-panel strip. They had one for Spider-Man, and it was the most underwhelming comic strip ever, but it was the closest thing I had to a Spider-Man comic when I was growing up, because the way they did it was the Spider-Man strip in the newspaper didn't have a ton of action. In fact, I would say it was almost entirely devoid of action. The Spider-Man comic strip in the newspaper was closer to your soap opera style comics, and I don't know any specifically by name. The one that pops to mind, and I don't know if this is the right name for it, it was like a medical drama comic strip, and I want to say it was called Rex Morgan? MD? Something like that. But basically all it was just character drama. Oh no, I hope Mary Jane doesn't find out that I went after this bad guy. What is she going to say when she finds out about it? Let me go talk to Aunt May. And it's mostly just him walking around out of costume. There wasn't a lot of action. I don't recall, top of mind, any comics for the Spider-Man comic strip where any punching or fighting enemies ever happened. In fact, the villains almost never appeared in that comic. The overwhelming majority of the Spider-Man comic strip in the newspaper is just him talking to Aunt May and Mary Jane. And they managed to peddle this to a major newspaper for years. What were they thinking when they made this? I'm going to find this button. It's somewhere. There's a blue box that I have not seen, and I'm going to get to it. Oh! Can I go up the pipe? Where's the pipe going up or down? Damn it. It's all the way up at that very frustrating jump that I can't make perfectly. There we go. Whee! Okay, so there is a little bit of control to the swinging, but boy, it's not great. Crotch first! I mean, for all we know, we don't know a whole lot about all of the abilities that Spider-Man got when he got bit by that radioactive spider. Maybe his genitals became incredibly tough. Maybe that was an original idea that Stan Lee had. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make the character Spider-Man incredibly tough in the genital region so he can land balls first in the enemy's face. Stan, this is being written for, like, young kids and teenagers. I know, they're getting horny because of their hormones. Hup, get up. I think that's it. Hooray, we finished the level, Spidey, and I didn't die. I remember playing this game and having a real hard time getting through that first area. Welcome one and welcome all. I'm so glad you could make it, Spider-Man. I have no idea what voice I should go with for this character. Your presence here is a bonus I didn't plan. Still, there's plenty of fun for everyone. Let the games begin. I have no idea when the original character for Arcade was created in the comics. I have a feeling that he was a character that was made in, if not the late 80s, the early 90s, because he seems like such a time-based gimmick, a character that was designed to capture the, for lack of a better term, zeitgeist of whatever period they were created in. Like, there were 3 enemies very early in the Spider-Man comic run, and I can't remember what all they're called, but there was like a guy that was small and fast, and a guy who attacked just using a lasso, and a really big tough man. And that was their group, and they didn't really have a whole lot of great powers, but they just screamed 1960s writing. It was such a terrible design for a trio of bad guys for Spider-Man to tackle, because it was like, none of them are intimidating. And as time went by, they started making more fantastical enemies for him to fight that are far more memorable, like Electro, Rhino, the Vulture. Yeah, all these Green Goblins been around forever. Well, people who had powers and abilities that were unique and worked well with Spider-Man, and some of these weird offshoot characters that just aren't intimidating, thankfully have disappeared, or very much of their time. I don't think Arcade really belongs in modern comics. It just doesn't make sense anymore. When was the last time you saw an Arcade? I can't remember the last time I saw one. Okay, so you can choose Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Gambit. You can choose all of them. Here's what I think we'll do just to keep things running. I'm going to do a save state here, and if they don't let me back out and try another character after one death, we'll load a save state so we can just get a taste of all the different characters in the game. We've already done Spider-Man. We'll do Wolverine first, and I think I hit start by accident. Shoot. Well, whatever. If we have to restart the whole game, we'll do that so we can see all of them. Okay, so he punches without his claws out. There they are. Why would you ever fight without the claws? Now, I'm going to be very disappointed if he doesn't get his health back over time. I feel like that's core to the Wolverine experiences. He has to be able to fight enemies and recover health while he takes damage. He's not a defensively savvy character. Yep, that's a clown, all right. Throwing a lot of bombs. Whoa, whoa, I'm getting hit by another one. Hidden clown? Quit dodging. Wow, they're spawning out of thin air. That's not a good design. All right, so Wolverine is not getting his health back. That's a problem. Is there a button I can hit to get health back? Sure isn't. Oh. Okay, duck. Okay. See. Ooh. I was gonna say, there's gotta be a way to go through this wall, right? It's shown as damaged. Whoa! Gotcha. Not too bad. I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point in the future when we get to another one of the X-Men games, but of the X-Men, I don't know if I've ever had a true favorite. I have a hard time believing anyone actually liked Cyclops. He just comes across as very milquetoast. He has a cool power, but I mean, in every representation of him, the power is always neutered. Like, he could shoot things with his laser beam eyes, but man, he never gets to use it in a way that's fun or cool in most modern representations, because he's always meant to look like an impediment to Wolverine getting to sleep with whatever character that he wants. And while Wolverine has cool powers, he's so surly, it's not fun. Okay. Go. Alright, can I hit him without getting shot? I can't hit him at all. Well, that's lame. Oh, oh! Oh, I am hanging in by the skin of my teeth. Why am I not finding any hearts? Uh-oh. Oh, oh! There's a heart, or an extra life. Alright, let's grab it. Yoink. Now, I will say, when I get the choice to play characters in, like, say, Marvel vs. Oh, crap! There's a bomb there. Alright, cool. So they do let you go back and change to a different character. Oh, I guess I should have read all the fun little details on these characters while I was babbling. But anyway, what I was trying to say is when I play, like, say, Marvel vs. Capcom, I usually go between either using Cyclops or Wolverine, because I think both of them usually have like a good combo attack that's a lot of fun to use, especially the Berserker Barrage that Wolverine uses. And then my combo with Cyclops was always to do Ryu and Cyclops, because they could both do a supercharged beam attack of some kind. Spider-Man, real name Peter Parker, occupation freelance photographer, group affiliation none, but let's be honest, he's worked with Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Avengers, Midnight Suns, pretty much anyone who says they need a little extra oomph, and Spider-Man's like, I'll help, but I'm not joining your group, and then he disappears after they finish. Spider-Man was kind of like Marvel's early on stamp of approval for any super team or new character. If Spider-Man decided to swing in and help you out, that meant that that character or group had the support of their biggest hitter. And that's just kind of the way they treated Spider-Man early on. And frankly, it's because he was, and I think to this day remains, their most popular and bankable comic character. Superhuman abilities, super strength, balance, and reflexes, and the ability to cause parts of his body to stick to most surfaces. Let's not forget, genitals made of iron, because that's how he likes to leap at enemies. Has premonitional spider sense, also uses his trusty web shooters. We did Wolverine, real name Logan, or James Howlett, I guess, if you go by more recent iterations. Adventurer, his group affiliation X-Men, possesses the power of self-healing, which we didn't get to see in the game. Why did they do that? I suppose I could do the rare instance where I look at the instruction manual and see if they have a little blurb on how to heal his character when he's fighting. Let's see. Move left, right, crouch, start, punch, slash, uppercut, retract, claws. No, they say nothing about his ability to heal in-game. So that's kind of a lie. Why would they put that in here and then not give him the ability to heal? Unbreakable adamantium claws and internal skeletal support makes him incredibly tough. Bull. He died super easy. All right, let's move to Cyclops. Scott Slim Summers? I have never heard anyone call him Slim, not even Jean Grey. His occupation, adventurer. Why do I get the feeling all of them are going to be called adventurer because that's their quote-unquote occupation? His superhuman abilities, the power to project a beam of ruby-colored concussive force from his eyes. He is unable to control this beam properly without the use of a visor made of ruby quartz. Now, important to note, and I think this is the case in this game, they limit your ability to use that beam by making you have to pick up ruby quartz pickups in order to keep you from just laser beaming every enemy in the game, or concussive beaming every enemy, whatever. We'll do all of them real quick here. Storm, real name Aurora Monroe, adventurer, surprise. She has control over manifestations of weather. For example, she can create bolts of lightning or cause whirlwinds to appear around her. And I don't remember how much of those you actually get to do. If you get all of them or just like lightning and that's it. Gambit, real name Remy Boudreau, adventurer. Oh my gosh, he's an adventurer. Superhuman abilities, possesses the power to charge any object with kinetic energy. When a charged object impacts after being thrown, it will explode. Gambit uses a pack of playing cards for ammunition. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to Cyclops and see how he plays. Thankfully, we do get to go back if you fail because, well, the game probably wouldn't be fun if I had to play all the way back from the beginning every single time. Okay, so he does have the ability to just jump and bow his head in prayer. Oh, come on. Get him. Get him. Yeah. See, there's the ruby quartz pick. Oh, crap! So don't touch the ground. All right, we gotta run that one back. Sorry, I didn't know you couldn't touch the ground. Oh, that was a design choice they made. How do I avoid getting hit? Oh, there we go. So what the heck's the point of the ruby quartz then? Uh-oh. Who? Oh! Gotcha. I'm guessing I can't touch that or it'll kill me. Okay. Hup! Punch him! Whoa! Oh! Yeah, this is definitely a game that I would have played one time after renting it and being like, well, this game is a little bit too obtuse and there are certain areas that are just not fun to play through, and not playing it much after that. Now, why did I buy the game if I didn't like it? And the answer is, I don't even remember buying it. It may have been one of these things where the game was available. Okay, so I get life back from those ruby quartz things. I thought it powered my beams, but knowing that I have unlimited shots makes things a lot better. Okay. Oh, No! Go away, Star Wars training bot. Yeah, one of the things that the rental store near where I lived used to do all the time is whenever a new console would come out, and they were trying to clear stock for older games, or of older games, they would put all of the ones that they used to rent out on sale for, you know, a small pittance. Like you pay maybe not $5-6, and you would get the game that you used to play all the time. I have a feeling this is one of those ones that was put on sale when they were clearing out the Super Nintendo games, and it probably was $5 to get it. And this may have been the one that I ended up renting from the family video all the time. And I just said, yeah, screw it, $5. I kind of liked this game all right, I guess, and picked it up, played it, and said, oh, no, I didn't like this game at all, and then never touched it again. All right, let's go ahead and try Storm. It is prohibitively difficult to do some things in here. So Storm is a swimmer. That's what they decided to do with this character. Okay, she has a tornado that I just botched the use of. Wow. That is the way they designed that trap. I go as soon as it stops, and that's still not enough time to get away from it zapping me. I think I'm supposed to shoot this. I am. Boy, how much cooler would it have been if you could actually, like, move around like Storm, fly, you know, zap things with your lightning. And instead, they decided to just make her swim. I'm being shot by an octopus. I need air. There's no air here. Air. Air. Get some air. There we go. I will say they did make it so that it's not impossible to get health back for this character. This may be the only one I finish other than the first level with Spider-Man. Oh! Come on. Come on. There we go. Hop, 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 hop. Wiggles. She has her extremely 80s haircut. As opposed to the more recent, like, mohawk style that she goes with. Yeah, can't jump out of the water. That's kind of lame. Whoa! I had that this whole time and I couldn't... Oh, it's a one-time use. She picks up unique abilities that she can use exactly one time. That's kind of lame. Oh, I got my tornado back. Alright, so nothing changed here, right? Yep, can't go up any further. Let's go ahead and head down. Oh, oh, oh! Wiggle, 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 wiggle. She's got an excellent form when she swims. Oh, cool. There is a bubble vent here that I can suck some air from. There's an instructional video a while back that I saw. Well, I hope that doesn't hit me. Of someone saying what to do if you're trapped in a house and you need to get some air. And basically what it was is if you... Whoa. Or maybe it wasn't an instructional video. I can't remember what it was. It might have been a movie where someone was trapped in a house that was on fire and they needed to get out, but they were trying to find air to breathe. And what they ended up doing was putting like an air hose in a toilet to get the oxygen they needed. Like they stuck it inside... I'm dead. I couldn't get to air fast enough. Alright, so we're going to see all of the characters. But basically, they stuck an air hose into the toilet, into the actual, like, the trap that gets created underneath where the water in the bowl sits. I don't know if I'd want to suck on that air, because that's trapped sewer gas coming up from your sewer line, and boy, is that not going to be fun to breathe in. But I guess it would be air. I don't know if I'd want to suck on that for very long. All right, anyway, let's go ahead and check out Gambit. And I think after this, if I die, that's game over. And we may just call it a day there. Yeah, unfortunately, oh, good lord! They start fast! I just detonated something. All right, so the things, the stars are cards, I guess. Uh-oh. Can I go up? Yes, I have to go up. I need to get some health. There we go. Or maybe that... Oh, I'm dead. Oh, that sucked. I wanted to get those stars. I got greedy. I had stars in my eyes, if you will. Well, wait a minute. I did save state, didn't I? Or did I? I didn't. Shoot. All right, well. Tell you what, we'll... I think we'll lapse forward and we'll give the Gambit one more try. All right, and we are back. Let's go ahead and select Gambit and give it one more try. After this, I think we'll try the Spider-Man stage for this character select area of the game, because we didn't look at that one yet. But after that, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day, because I don't think I'll ever make it past any of these levels. In fact, I don't think I ever have. That's how difficult this game is it's just... Some of these levels are very poorly balanced and frankly just not fun to play. Not to give away too much of what the review score for this is going to end up being, but man, I just have never loved this game. I think it's just a bit too difficult to be entertaining. Okay, so I can go grab that. You jerk. You can throw the card straight up in the air for all the value that gives you. Oh, I thought I shorted that. I was trying to jump on the skull. Can I break these? I can. It's like a bit like Arkanoid. Now I am out of cards. So what the heck am I going to do? Die is what I'm going to do. Boy, that was a choice they made. Break a wall with a limited supply of cards in your arsenal. Okay. Well, let's go back to the one that I actually managed to beat a level with, Spider-Man. And his music doesn't change. That's kind of lame. Now, interesting choice. This is supposed to be an incredibly agile character who's capable of doing a lot of very acrobatic things and impressive moves with his web shooters. He can't shoot straight up with his web shooter. That's another choice they made. This has got to be the least articulated and functional Spider-Man in the history of Spider-Man. Well, just because he has spider powers doesn't mean he's immune to spider arthritis, I guess. Whee! I'm guessing those are spikes. They are! Don't touch them! I guess credit where credit is due. They did make it so that you don't actually have to replace the web shooter cartridges. So I guess that functionally makes this the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. It's just natural. It comes out of his wrists. And I get it. Traditionally, he's supposed to have to make the webbing himself to get it, but come on. It was probably the best thing they could have done for the character when they decided to move to a movie role is, let's just make it come out of his wrists. Why not? Uh-oh. Come on, kill him! No! Ah, you bastard. All right, well, I think we've looked at just about enough of this game. It's not good. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up. We'll do a round of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is, while it is very dated, I think the soundtrack has very much an 80s and 90s comic book feel to it. It's got, you know, just certain riffs and beats that match the era that this game came from and was designed to emulate. Now, obviously, it was made in the 90s, so it would have a 90s aesthetic to it. But I do think it's a strength to the game. It's not a bad soundtrack. I don't think it's a great soundtrack, but all things considered, if there were some pluses to give to this game, that would probably be it. Having multiple different characters to select from instead of one character, like just being Spider-Man going to save the X-Men, I think that's a good choice because it gives you variety. The way that the levels are played is a little bit different for each of the characters. Maybe not Cyclops and Wolverine, they play more like Spider-Man, but when you get to Storm's level and you're swimming around in the water, that's different. It plays different because she doesn't have traditional health. She has a bubble meter, and when that runs out, she dies. Gambit's little chase scenario where he's running away from a giant rolling ball of death. There's a unique gimmick to that maybe it didn't work out great, but at least it's something different than just run left or right and use your powers to defeat baddies. They mix things up, and I think that is a credit to the game. Unfortunately, there are quite a few bads about this game. Number one, this is the least functional Spider-Man I think I've ever played in a video game. He can't aim his web shooter at all. He can't shoot up, down. All he can do is left or right. Clinging to the walls is a little bit too stiff. I mean, you can jump away and you can fall straight down, but he clings a little bit too easily to surfaces. Like when you're trying to jump off a wall and fall down, you don't have to press into the wall. As soon as you touch the wall, he sticks to it. And it just kind of is jarring, and it slows things down. It doesn't convey the sense of agility and speed that you would think of when you think of Spider-Man, who's very agile. Part of his powers, and obviously they list super strength as the first thing about him, is the fact that he's so mobile. He's always moving around. That's why he barely ever gets shot, if at all. They didn't convey that well at all in this game. Wolverine doesn't have his healing factor at all. I tried just waiting and seeing if his health would come back. It didn't. Why would you put Spider-Man? Why would you put Wolverine in a video game and list his very first power? And let's go ahead and skip to that screen so that we can look at it. Oh, I passed it. The first thing they list in his superhuman abilities is the power of self-healing. And he can't do that in this game. Who thought of that? They just said, well, we got to put Wolverine in because he's the most popular of the X-Men now, but we're not going to make it so he can recover health because that would diminish the difficulty of the game. No! Make it slow. Just have him have to wait 30 seconds before he gets his health back. I mean, yeah, it's probably going to slow down a character that you typically think of as just being all offense all the time, but at least you're putting the power in there, and they didn't put it in this game. Being able to eject his claws is a fun little additional touch to the character, even though why on earth would you ever play as Wolverine and not use the claws when you have them? They should have given him the ability to heal. Cyclops is fine. I mean, he can shoot his laser beams and he can actually aim them. Why did they think to give Cyclops the ability to aim up and down with his laser shots, but not Spider-Man? That was a terrible choice. Storm, I mean, they should have found a better way to utilize her instead of just throwing her in water. Hey, we gotta have a level where the characters can swim around. Let's make Storm be that character. Well, does she get any special powers in the water? No, not really. I mean, she just uses lightning, which, by the way, if you use lightning in water, wouldn't that electrocute her? They didn't think that one through. And then with Gambit, they limit how many cards he can use, and then you run into a wall where you have to burn basically your entire deck, blowing those bricks away like you're playing Arkanoid or Breakout or whatever you want to call it, the brick breaking style games. And then when you do that, there's no card pickups after that. And as soon as you touch an enemy, you're dead, because apparently, even though they gave Wolverine the ability to just punch enemies without any weapon or any claws out of his fists, Gambit can't do that. He has to throw cards. He has no other way to fight. Never mind the fact that he usually has a bow staff with him that he can use as a weapon. Nah, screw that. He can only use cards. They put a lot of characters in here, and they represented them like in a very half-assed fashion. They didn't have the abilities that they should have had to make them fully functional characters. They just kind of gave them the ones you recognize, but don't flesh them out enough to make them fun. It's prohibitively difficult. The game is way too hard. It's just, you get to these levels, and if you die, there's no checkpoints. You go all the way back to the character select screen, which I guess if you want to experiment with all the different ones that are all the different characters that are available, that's probably a good call, but they could have also just said pause and then hold select to go back to the character select menu if you don't want to keep playing as this character. It's that easy. I just came up with that. They didn't think of that in the 90s. As far as the ugly, I think the character is a little bit too small. Not to mention, again, and I've complained enough about this, but Spider-Man happens to be probably my favorite comic book character. They made that Spider-Man character look so stiff. I mean, jumping, running, it looks like he's got a stick up his ass when he runs. He's so stiff and upright. While I think they did put quite a few animation frames for the characters moving around, especially Spider-Man, they just didn't make him look comfortable. Like, he literally is like walking so stiff and upright that it kind of looks like they designed this as a generic action game and then got the license to Marvel and said, we'll make this one Spider-Man. Perfect. Hey, should he be able to shoot his webbing up or down at all? No. Just straight ahead. He doesn't need to aim his web shooters. What are you talking about? His arms can only go forward. Terrible. Just bad. All right, let's go ahead and give this game a score. We do our score in Randars, 1 to 10. This is going to be a 3. This is a bad game. Listen, licensed games based on superheroes in general are not great. They never have been. Only in the last, I'd say, 10 years have they started touching games of reasonably high quality involving superheroes. The Batman Arkham games are fantastic, with some caveats in I think the case of the most recent one, Arkham Knight. Not counting Gotham Knights, I haven't played that one and I can't speak to it. The most recent Spider-Man games that came out on PlayStation 4 and 5 are fantastic. But if you go further back than Arkham Asylum, it's really hard to list a great comic book game. There's some okay ones, and in fact, I would say that the Spider-Man 1 and 2 games that came out on PlayStation 1 are pretty good. I never played the PlayStation 2 one, so I can't speak to the quality of the experience for those, but most comic book games, they just are afterthoughts. When you get a licensed property and you hand it off to a studio, it almost feels like every time they do that, they just give it to the B team. They say, well, we have the rights to these characters and we know they're going to sell a bunch. You guys aren't busy working on one of the games that we really had a lot of money or top talent to work on it. You guys go ahead and take care of this game. We'll give you carte blanche to do it however you want. And they just make it the most generic and boring action game that they can. And it rarely ever captures the true spirit of the character that you're trying to play as. This one definitely feels like it was a B team at Acclaim that was not, known for high quality experiences. And they said, we have this X-Men and Spider-Man license and it's going to expire in the next year. We only have time to make one game. Mash all the characters that we can into one game and just bang this thing out. You got 6 months because we're going to have, 3 months of marketing or whatever and then put it out. So they did the best they could with the short time they had before the license expired, and this is all they could do. This is not a great game. Too stiff, too difficult, and the powers are poorly represented for some of those characters. Again, why would you ever make a Wolverine-based video game character and not give him the ability to heal? It's his primary power! 3 Randars. This game sucks. Don't ever play it. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nubs Collection. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.